Dayeanne Hutton? What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just watering this plant, because if you don't water your plants, they won't grow. Just like if you don't water your mental health, it won't grow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. She's good. Yeah, I totally agree.
Wow, what wonderful advice about watering our mental health from the one and only Dayeanne Hutton, who we have here in the stew today.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on, Daye. And everyone, welcome to The Vulnerable Podcast, a mental health podcast run by voice actors where we prove that vulnerability is something to be proud of. My name is Kennedy Hibbert. I am a voice actor. I am a mental health advocate. I am gonna restart, actually. My name is Kennedy Hibbert. I am a voice actor. I am a mental health advocate. I am a human being, and I'm so excited to have you here today. But before we begin our amazing episode with our lovely, lovely guest, it's time for the vulnerability of the week. If you guys have not been here before, the vulnerability of the week we do at the beginning of every episode, and it's where I go first and I share something vulnerable. And this one's a doozy. I'm going to put the plant down for this. There you go, child. There you go. Okay, so my vulnerability of the week is that I went back to therapy.
Yay! Clapping audio cheering sound.
That's right. Thank you, Daye. I went back to therapy recently. I stopped going in January just because my therapist went on maternity leave, but I took the initiative a few weeks ago to go back because there were parts of me that I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to challenge these. I'm ready to work on these. Oh boy. Yesterday, we did what is called a trauma narrative walkthrough, something like that. It was more than 6 years in the making of, I didn't even realize what it was, but it was trauma that sat very, very deep in my bones. And we had to, speaking of bones, we had to break the bones to mend them the right way. And that was really, really difficult. And before the session, my therapist was like, okay, on 1 to 10, like, how stressed are you feeling? And I was like 6, 7, I don't know. After I spilled my guts out and I very, very vulnerably shared things that I used to actually lie to my old therapist about, lied to my psychiatrist about, my mom and my family, my friends. After I expressed these things, my therapist said, okay, how are you feeling from 1 to 10? And I said, 2. I feel really great, which was not what I was expecting at all. I mean, I just unseated my deepest, darkest fears, and it makes me feel very vulnerable to share all of that, but that's why we're here, is to be vulnerable, and I just wanted to tell you guys that it's so important that we reach out. It's not the first time I've said this, but after yesterday, it just takes on a whole new meaning of like, oh my gosh, if you are struggling, if you have things that you are afraid to talk about, that is the biggest, best reason to share it. It's scary, it's hard. Oh my gosh, believe me, I know. I freaking know. I kept these inside me for 7 years. 6, 7 years. I keep changing the number.
Well.
But you get the point. Reach out to people, guys. It's so important. Reach out to a therapist, reach out to a friend, a family member, anyone you possibly can, because we need to be there for each other. And that's my vulnerability of the week. Let me just come down from that.
I know, I just want to like give you a hug. I'm like,
Okay.
I love hugs. Hugs are good.
All right, done with that. Woo. Oh my goodness, but what a way to start.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna get real vulnerable real fast up in here today. But yes, everyone, we are with my lovely friend Daye, who is such a fabulous voice actor. You are mostly known for voicing Kate Marsh in Life is Strange, which I played this Monday for the first time to prep for this episode, and oh my gosh, it is so good. Go play it if you haven't. But we're going to talk all about that. What are some other roles that people know you from?
So I also do on-camera work, and so I've also Harriet Smith in the modern adaptation of Emma Approved, and then I also was in a fan episode of Scooby-Doo called Mystery Incorporated where I played Velma. That's on YouTube that some people know about. I'm known in very specific nerd circles.
That's okay. We love it, and we accept absolutely all of it.
I love it, yeah. But I've also done some NPC work in Honkai Star Rail and A Path to Nowhere and a few other games.
You're just killing it out here.
I'm trying. We hustling.
But not only are you a voice actor, you were a Twitch streamer for a long time, and you yourself have become a mental health advocate, especially after voicing Kate Marsh, who I guess I'll have you introduce. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've kind of been, I'm still calling it a hiatus. I'm not ready to say I quit streaming because I do miss it. I would love to come back if I could find a way. But I started in 2017, and I started by playing Life is Strange, and Kate Marsh is the main character that I play in this game, and Life is Strange, if you're not familiar, deals with a lot of real feelings, a lot of real issues that you might encounter as a teen in high school. And Kate, it goes through a depression and bullying and goes through some really traumatic things, and it's a choice-based game, so I don't want to spoil things for people that haven't played, but you can kind of, you as a player kind of take her life in your hands and can help her come out of that in certain ways. So
or not sometimes.
Or not sometimes.
Yeah.
And so she is directly and intrinsically related to the subject of mental health, because that's kind of like her whole character is like, many of the characters are. After the game came out and people started playing the game, I got so many messages from people being like, I related to this character so much, like playing this game, how I like helped them get through what they were feeling, because it's like the catharsis of it all I have to see, and being seen by a video game, like having a video game kind of represent what you're going through, it really helped a lot of people through some really hard times, and led me to focusing more on mental health. And I actually, my first TwitchCon, I was invited to be on a panel by someone who was at Square Enix, who made the game, part of the team that made the game. And he was like, they asked me to be on this panel, but it's about mental health, and I feel like you're better suited to talk about it, and people would rather hear from you than just like someone at this company. And so I was like, yeah, of course. And that changed my life. It changed like the whole direction of everything I was doing. It brought me to focus on mental health in my streams, especially since my streaming community was mostly the Life is Strange community as well.
Yeah.
So it was like, here, I will be this comfortable place for you to come. Like, I will accept you. You can be yourself. Like, I don't want you to hide who you are. Like, I'm gonna remind everyone, including myself, to take our meds. Like, take your potions.
That's right.
So yeah, it just like put me on this path that I don't know if I would have found or gotten on without the game.
Yeah. So before you voiced this character, what was your relationship with mental health?
Let me go back in time to 2013.
Wow.
Probably not great. I had undiagnosed anxiety. I think I had undiagnosed depression. I don't think I was going to therapy. I don't think I went to therapy till more around like 2016, 2017. So yeah, just gritting my teeth and getting through it, I guess, was my relationship to mental health.
So you didn't really know the ins and outs of it until later then, right?
Yeah, I'd say the most I did was I've always been a self-help book like fiend. I've always loved a self-help book, and so I had read a few of them by that point, and really loved quotes. I like kept a quote book of like, okay, when I'm feeling sad, I like will read these quotes that will like lift me out of this. So I was like stumbling my way through certain things that were helpful without being told or guided towards it. So stumbling is a good word. I was stumbling through my mental health journey.
Nice. And then at what point did you really realize like the gravity of how important the subject is to people?
That's so interesting. Well, definitely when I started getting messages from people after the game of them being like, this game saved my life, or this game did like this. And of course, like that put me in an interesting position where like I felt for these people, but I was also like, I'm not a mental health professional. Like, I don't want to speak on it. I don't want to make anything worse for this person. So like, I just started telling people, I'm so glad this game helped you through this time in your life, and I'm so glad you're on the other side. Like, because, you know, it's a delicate, tricky space to be in.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always give so much props to the writers. Like, it was not just me. I was acting these words that were already written by brilliant people that did an amazing job. And so cannot take all the credit in any way. And so getting actual feedback like that was like, oh wow, this is super serious.
Yeah.
And then when I did finally start going to see a counselor and go to therapy, when I struggled with like getting on anxiety meds at first, but once I finally did, I was like, I'm gonna talk about this when people would be like, oh, what are you doing on this day? And if I had therapy, and I wouldn't make up a lie, I'd be like, oh, I have therapy, because I was like, I felt myself want to lie,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, why? Where's that coming from? Why should I be ashamed of this?
Yeah.
And if I cannot be ashamed of it and I say it bluntly to other people, maybe it'll help them not be ashamed of it.
100%.
So I don't know where that came. Like, that was just, I don't know. That just like bubbled up inside of me of like, I refuse to be ashamed of this thing.
No, that's amazing. And let's talk about that. I mean, why do you think, because you are not the only one who feels that way of like, is this something I can talk about? Do I feel safe? Why do you think there is such a stigma about talking about mental health?
I think it really is like a societal thing passed down of just the way our parents were raised. Like, I know people talk about like, I think that like Gen X is the most like, they were told like, toughen up, grin and bear it. Don't be a sissy. You don't need therapy and all this stuff. And that was ingrained into them. And then they raised us.
That's right.
And so it was such a detriment. And, you know, as a kid, my parents tried to go to family therapy a few times because like we had communication issues like crazy, and they were like, well, let's go talk about it. But me, having undiagnosed anxiety, one of my like worst things was like, if I talk about my feelings, I will cry. If I cry in front of a stranger, I want to die. And my anxiety is worse. And so taking me to therapy was like this volatile thing. And I would refuse to go back because I was like, I'm crying in front of this stranger. And, like, you know, at that age, like 8 years old, like, this is the end of the world, like, making me feel this way. I'm not going back. And it wasn't until, like, I was an adult in my mid-20s where I looked at things that were going on and was like, I think I want to talk to someone, actually. Mm-hmm. I think it's time to talk to an outside party.
What was the catalyst for you being like, you know what? No, like, gosh darn it, like, I am going to talk about this.
You know, it's like, not to be ashamed of it, but also, like, it's just like, oh, boy. Like, a breakup. Like, my one of many breakups, like, every relationship I was the one being dumped, and I was being made to feel like I am too sensitive. I do this, and that. And so I actually went being like, can you fix me so, like, people will love me? And then learned that it's okay to be too sensitive. Like, it's okay to have feelings, and that's when I learned about highly sensitive people.
I was just going to say, are you an HSP?
A little bit.
Oh, girl, we'll
and
talk.
So, yeah, that she was like, did you know this was a thing? And I'll never forget my counselor, sweetest woman, looked at me one time, and she was like, I need you to start having compassion for yourself. And I went, ew. Like, are you kidding? Like, I still am uncomfortable with that concept sometimes. And then I was like, where is that coming from? Why am I so like, compassion for myself? Like,
that is so interesting. But also totally understandable. Like, when in our lives are we really taught that?
I don't know. And another thing she said to me once, which was so crazy, I was like, not crazy, but it's wild, was that I was like, my parents were great. They were not too hard on me. They were super, like, loving. I don't understand why I am this way. Like, I always got good grades, and if I didn't, I was so hard on myself. My parents were comforting me for getting a B because I was crying, you know? And so she was like, well, actually, sometimes in the absence of, like, someone being overbearing, your brain will become it for you. And I was like, oh, how fun. Oh, how fun. So even when your parents do things right, your brain goes, oh, let's make some things difficult.
Let's lie.
So that's been my fun thing my whole life, is just like fighting against my own worst enemy, self-saboteur, if you will, in my own brain.
Yeah. Which is a journey that we all go on. I know, I have, absolutely. And we're still working through it.
Yeah, I think it's a lifelong journey.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. But it's a journey worth taking, even if we never reach the end, because we won't.
Yeah, just constant improvement, baby steps. That's all I could hope for. It's all I want. It's just little improvements at a time.
Exactly, 100%. When you went through that journey in your 20s, was there any element of your experience on Life is Strange that it either guided you or encouraged you or anything that stuck?
I mean, so Life is Strange, I recorded that before my therapy journey because, let's see, I was like 23 when I did that.
Yeah.
And was probably more like 25, 26 when I started therapy.
Right.
So I think it just made me double down more on caring about the Life is Strange community and my streaming community when I started building that. It had a personal place in my heart. It wasn't just like, oh, I voiced this character and she means something to you, so I'll make it mean something to me. It was like, no, I see the impact this has. I understand why this is having the impact. And I think it also relates to me in a way of my whole life. Like when I was really young, I was like one of those kids that embraced being a weirdo. I was like, whatever, I'm weird, okay?
It's I'm weird. Cole Sprouse meme where he's like, I'm a weirdo, okay? I don't fit in and I don't want to fit in.
Such Aquarius energy. But
I love it.
Yeah. So I was always very that. I was like, no, I am who I am. Very stubbornly me. And when I started the streaming, I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be a space where people can be themselves. And it's interesting because when I started, that felt very needed. But like things have progressed so much since then that I almost feel there was less of a need for it. I feel like people have really embraced their individuality and their strangeness and their uniqueness and their weirdness in like the last 10 years in a way that wasn't happening in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was all about fitting in. It was all about being the same. And but then that's also interesting because then I'm like, well, then what is my purpose? I thought my purpose was to inspire people to be weird in themselves. But if everyone's already weird in themselves, what am I here for? So the spirals are never ending.
Absolutely. How did you answer that question?
I haven't.
No,
of course not. I'm just
but also I think you are still having the impact because I mean, tell me, you went to PAX last week and you interacted with so many fans who I mean I saw your post. It seemed like a really great, wonderful experience.
It was incredible. So Katie Bentz and I put together a panel and we've submitted it to several cons because we both stream and we were like, we see the demand. We see people wanting to connect with people from these games across all of the games. So we reached out to a bunch of the actors. We're like, would you be down for this if we get accepted? We got okays from people and we just started submitting. And PAX, bless them, accepted us. And we were like, hope this goes well. And it was incredible. So many people showed up for both the panel and the signing. And it was so wonderful getting to talk to everyone who came through the line. And I mean, it's just getting to see people in person who are like, Kate's my favorite character, or like, I always save Kate. People, it's so sweet. Everyone's like, I always save Kate. Like, I always make sure. Or people who are like, I didn't save Kate the first time and I turned off my computer and restarted. Like that's how much of it. And I'm like, it's overwhelming, but so wonderful. It's overwhelming because I'm like, oh, I'm such a small part of that character that has made such a huge impact on this person that it's overwhelming. Then you get imposter syndrome and you're like, oh, I like barely did anything. Yeah. Like I'm not worthy of like this like breakthrough you had or whatever. But it's just about, accepting like, no, I did that work and I'm going to like give the love and attention back to this person who put the love and attention into the game and the character. And I'm always like, my favorite thing to say to people if they didn't save Kate is I'm like, it's okay. Like, I forgive you, Kate would. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be mad at you because you missed a question in the game wrong or something. I'm like, no, please take away your guilt.
Yes, of course.
It's okay.
It is just a video game, but at the same time, what I loved so much when I played through the first part was like there's so much education in it as well. You talk about how people were coming up to you and going, I didn't save Kate and now I do, or I save Kate every time. It's actively teaching people to look out for the signs and maybe when they see the quote Kate Marsh in their life, they'll recognize, oh, I know what's happening here, and let me reach out. It's giving comfort to those who have been there, and it's teaching people who haven't been there how to navigate when a friend is going through something really difficult.
Yeah, it's a game for like the outsiders, the misunderstood, anyone struggling with something. Like there's every character you interact with is going through something for some reason in some way that someone can latch on and relate to.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly like you said. And if you weren't, like for me, it's, you know what it taught me. So when I first played the game, I am so sorry. Don't worry, I like came around. I hated Chloe because growing up, I had a lot of manipulative friends that were emotionally abusive to me. And I saw her actions as that. It related to my life in that way.
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, I cannot stand this chick. Through playing and interacting with the community and listening, and everyone's always willing to have such like mature dialogue, I learned about, like, okay, well, because Chloe went through X, Y, and Z, this is why she's acting out in these ways. And then I was able to see that side of it. So, like, that's a way it, like, helped me understand exactly how you're saying, like, something I haven't gone through. Because I was so invested in, like, oh my gosh, this person's toxic. Like, why do so many people like this character? And it was because I was coming from, like, a place of hurt in my past.
That's really beautiful. And I love that you had that experience as a way to heal your own past, but also, to learn and to recognize that people roll up every day the way that they roll up, but when you look back at why they are that person, and there is always a why, by the way. There is always a why for why someone is mean. There's always a why for why someone is sad. And those are worth considering at some points. There's so many people in my life who, when I vent about, oh, this friend did this something to me, very similar to like some Chloe behavior, like, they did this. People are like, just cut them off. And I'm like, okay, I see that. But also, let me try to understand.
Yeah.
Because once we understand the problem, we might be able to fix it. We might be able to repair a relationship and give grace to that person in our lives. Doesn't always work out.
Yes.
Does not always work out. But I think the world would be a much better place if we all tried to understand each other and our backgrounds.
Yeah, it's such an important balance of that understanding and then also knowing your own boundaries of like, I understand that you're acting out because of whatever and that it is causing this action, but I can no longer allow myself to be treated this way. So like until you can figure that out, like I can no longer, be a part of this. And it's such delicate balance, but it's so important.
It is. Again, it's the journey worth taking. Yeah. 100%. So not only were you Twitch streaming just to like play the game and you had people come in, but you really advocated for mental health organizations. Do you want to tell me about that and why you started that?
Absolutely. So again, I'm time traveling in my brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been so long. I am nearly positive that on that first panel that started all of this with the mental health talk, Dr. B was on that panel with me, and Dr. B is a part of an organization called Take This. Very like, it's dangerous to go alone, take this, like very cute. And Take This is a wonderful group. They are at many, many conventions. They set up AFK rooms, which are like if it gets too overwhelming, if it's too loud, you need a spot to relax, you can go. It's quiet. They have like coloring books and like little things you can do. And
it's so great.
Such
so
a wonderful
needed.
space. Yeah. And so I met him and became friends, and they started an ambassador program. So for years while I was streaming, I was a Take This ambassador. And so like people would donate. I would do charity streams for them, and that money would help go towards their AFK rooms and other resources that they do. And so that started all of that, and that started a lot of charity streams that I've done throughout my streaming. And I've fundraised for different platforms like Heart Support, to write Love on Her Arms. I'm super involved still with Project Hope. They help out in disaster areas around the world, but one of their focuses is not just get them food, get them shelter, get medicine. They also focus on mental health. They also focus on bringing like mental health help to people who have gone through truly horrific things. And I'm just like, oh, they're wonderful.
That is so wonderful and so special. And I hate that we see that problem happen over and over again, where whenever there is a disaster, and I don't just mean like natural disasters, but just even in our own lives when hard things happen, it's always like, what's the help that I can give to you? You need a doctor, you need a Band-Aid, you need food, but where's the help for the brain?
Yeah.
It's always a second thought. And again, that's why like I'm so glad you're here and we're talking about this, is because it does need to be talked about more. We need to take care of our brains in the exact same way we take care of our bodies.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, if we have an unwell brain, we're not going to take care of our bodies. So let's talk. We've talked a lot about kind of the past, because really, Life is Strange was so long ago, right?
Oh, yes. Just like 2013.
But let's now cut to, like, the now. So tell me about how you practice taking care of your mental health now, and what strides you are taking to break down the stigma.
Yeah. So, I mean, such a good question, because it's always... like, this is the journey, right? Like, it's always like you start doing things that are like really good for yourself, and you start getting better and things are good, and then you just like, your brain just forgets all of it somehow. I don't know, at least mine does. And then you're like, and then all of a sudden you're rotting on the couch, like listening to your 85th audiobook of the year, and you're like, oh, maybe I should go back to journaling in the morning. Oh, that was really good for me. So yeah, I think for me, especially in the recent years, I've had a really hard time, like, with outside things. I have a really hard time not feeling like the weight of the world is up to me to change, or like I need to be the change. Change you want to see in the world. And there's so much upsetting stuff happening, and it all affects me a lot.
Yeah.
And like, the doom scroll and the this and the that, and it paralyzed me. It has been paralyzing me for, like, the beginning of the year. Like, I couldn't do much. Like, I was just escaping into all my books, because I was like, I don't know how to exist. Like, if I think too long, I'm so sad that I don't know what to do, because I can't do anything. Like, so definitely I currently have a 9-to-5, and that has very much helped, because it's got me in a routine.
Yeah, structure.
It's got, structure. I have learned about myself that, like, I thrived. I think this is why I didn't know I had ADHD for so long, because of the way school is structured, and because of how, like, it presents differently in, like, female brains and such.
Yeah.
Of, like, the structure, like, thrived, loved, was such a good student, did all my things. As soon as I was no longer in school and didn't have the structure, it was like, oh, I'm useless. Like, I need that structure. So recognizing that is super helpful, and then putting structure in place, super helpful. Like I said, I love self-help books. So one of the things that's great for me is, like, I like to wake up in the morning and, like, drink my coffee and read a chapter, or if they're long chapters, like, read 5 or 6 pages. I like highlight, and sometimes I'll journal, or I love a journal. I love a goal-oriented or a sort of, I don't know, I've gone through many a journal that are more than just a planner.
Yeah.
That are like, oh, what 10 things are you grateful for today? And just practicing gratitude. Meditating, I'm not great at, but I know it's good, and so I try to do it when I remember.
That's okay.
Yeah, so it's all just doing the things work. For whatever reason, you can know what works, but for whatever reason, sometimes we just refuse to do them over and over again. And so it's just getting past that mental block. And it really does make a difference when you actually do the things work. Wild!
Which is way easier said than done, by the way.
Absolutely. I know that Kate brought up the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
That's right.
Because I made her read it, because after we took Jen Hale's class on Skills Hub, I'm always like, if someone has kind of a similar life outlook, I feel, to me, spiritually and everything else, I'll be like, what books would you recommend? And so I got some recommendations from her, and that was one of them. And I read it, and it was incredible. And then when Kate was going through something, I was like, you need to read this. I needed to read this. It helped me. Let's see and we were just talking yesterday how we both need to reread it. It is time for a reread. Because you really can change the neural pathways in your brain, and that negative talk is so easy. And I think especially as, like, as a woman, you're taught to be humble or like not brag or not even taught, but that's how you see it. And so then you feel a certain way when you think highly of yourself. And so you just fall into these negative self-talk patterns and you don't even realize how much they're like poisoning your brain sometimes.
Yeah. What are some ways that you've been able to overcome some of that negative self-talk?
Just being mindful of it. Just realizing when you do it and going, oh, there it is. I shouldn't say that or think that. What can I say or think instead? Like, and like you said, it's way easier said than done. It's super hard. It's like any exercise. Like, you gotta keep doing reps.
That's
you gotta
right.
keep trying. The brain's a muscle, right? You gotta do those thought reps.
That's right. Yeah, recognizing those is absolutely the first step. And then after that, it comes how do we change them? My mom taught me how to do like thought records. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but it's so helpful. And maybe this could help somebody at home who also struggles with like really overwhelming negative self-talk is like, okay, write down the thought in column A. What's the thought? I am stupid.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm stupid.
It's an example.
Next column, is this healthy, helpful, or true? Is it healthy?
Probably not. No.
Is it helpful?
Definitely not.
Is it true?
No.
No, it's not. So we go, okay, it's not healthy, helpful, or true. So how can we reframe this? I am not stupid. I feel inadequate. Is that healthy, helpful, or true? It is true.
Yeah.
I feel inadequate.
Yeah.
And then why do we feel that? And so it's a great way to reframe. Yeah. And there are some thoughts that come around that are healthy, helpful, or true. Ugh, I'm so angry because I'm hungry. Is that healthy, helpful, or true? Yeah.
Go eat.
Go eat. 100%. So that mindfulness part is the most difficult of all. Because it's like, okay, not only do we have to be mindful and catch our thoughts, but we have to reframe the ones that don't work. We have to pay attention to the ones that do.
It's very true. And something I thought of that sometimes helps, some things help sometimes and then they don't. You have to rotate things that help. But like thinking, when you're talking negative to yourself, if you think of yourself as like the younger you almost like want to be kinder to younger you, right? Like it's, how your friends will be, or like, a partner will be like I'll say something and my husband will be like, don't talk that way about my wife. Like, it's like, you got to do that to yourself. Like, would you say it to a good friend? No. Why are you saying it to
100%.
Yourself?
Dude, I had this killer idea for a short film when I was like 15 and I was like, okay, stay with me here. Imagine this. Imagine just a girl, let's just say me, and then somehow magically she gets duplicated or cloned. And before, I'm skipping ahead. Before she gets duplicated or cloned, she looks in the mirror and she's just like, hey, you're so ugly. And then after she gets duplicated, she says the same thing, but then the clone says, how could you say that about me? But then you say, oh, no, it's not you. No, you're beautiful. It's me. And the clone's like, well, but we look the same.
Yeah.
We're the same. And so it really is like, would you say that to a clone of yourself? If you traveled back in time to just 10 minutes ago and you had a conversation with yourself, would you tell that person the same things that you say to yourself in a mirror?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, because we're empathetic people and we want to make other people feel good. But we don't feel like we have that responsibility to ourselves, right? Because we're us.
Yeah, because we lack that compassion for our own selves sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything else, it's a practice. There's actually a really great song I just thought of from the musical title of Show called Die Vampire Die. And it's about those like little intrusive thoughts in your head. Check it out if you want. It's pretty silly and fun. And some of my good friends and I have also named that thought process, like, right? So like when we start having those thoughts, or when one of us starts having those thoughts, we've called it the Nancy brain. And so we can be like, that's Nancy. Tell Nancy to shut up. Like, go away, Nancy. We don't need your input. Or it's like, I've read things that can be helpful, like saying, thank you so much, like to your brain. Like, thank you for that thought. I hear you. I'm going to move on now. Mm-hmm. And sort of like, so you acknowledge it, but you don't sit in it. Mm-hmm. And, all tools for your mental health toolbox.
That is so good. Something that I want to talk about with you, because I've never gotten the chance to talk about it with someone else. I didn't know I was an HSP until like a month ago.
Ooh, okay.
Changed my life.
Okay.
Because I bet there's so many people out there listening and watching right now too that have been told like you're too sensitive, or like the stuff that I didn't even know, like the music is too loud for you, the lights are too bright for you. Why do you connect with music so deeply? Why do you take on other people's emotions? And I thought for the longest time like something was like actually wrong with
Oh my gosh.
me.
I used to think in high school, because I do this thing where I have big emotions, but I'm also annoyingly logical to the point where like I would be super upset in high school over something when also like your hormones are everywhere, right? So like everything's like amplified, and logically my brain would be like, but this is actually not that big a deal because of X, Y, and Z. So you really shouldn't be this upset. But then I'd be like, but I have feelings. And I remember literally looking up in high school, like, what does it feel like to be bipolar? Because I had no idea. Like, I didn't have anyone in my family with it. I had no experience. All I knew is that it could be like like you have two different. And I was like, is this that?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, but that's how concerned I was with like this duality inside me. And like, I still struggle with that to this day of just like, both having big emotions and logically most of the time knowing that there's no need for them to be as big as they are.
Yeah.
It's really weird feeling like you're constantly arguing with yourself.
Yeah. Especially in this day and age, we have a better grasp on mental health now than we did a while ago. So there are like, I don't want to say labels, but like diagnoses for different things. So when stuff pops up, it's very easy to be like, okay, what is this? What do I have? What's going on?
Yeah.
But that's why the HSP thing was so nice, because I'm like, oh wait, okay, this isn't a diagnosis. It's a part of it's like a personality trait. And the best part that I recognized from it was like, and it's totally normal and okay. It is okay to be different. It is okay to feel so deeply, to love so deeply, to be off-put by certain things. Like, that doesn't make you weird or strange, or maybe it does, and that's beautiful, you know?
Yeah. No, being weird and strange in my book is like 10s across the board.
When you said you've always kind of been like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember oh God, I've seen memes of this, of like being a teenager in the 90s, and it's like all those weird little keychains with like weird sayings on them. And I literally had one that was something like, yeah, I'm weird, so what? Or like, weird and proud of it. And I had that on my backpack for years because I spent a chunk of time wanting to fit in. And then I think, it was when I went to theater camp for the first time. I went to this place called Camp Bravo for many years, which is up in the Redlands. It's a week-long theater camp where you camp out in the cabins and everything, and you do all this really cool stuff. And I was around all these theater kids, but not like performing theater kids. It was classes, and like there wasn't a performance at the end of they said it's not a dance for grandma camp is what they would call it. That when the parents came up at the end of the week, what would happen is they would go with you to two of your classes and just watch you have a class. And for whatever reason, meeting those people, being in that environment, it unlocked this part of me that was like, I am proud of who I am, and I'm going to start being loud about it. I mean, great, like, to be clear, still very shy, still lots of anxiety. I was just kind of like done hiding like my personality, I guess, in that sense. Yeah.
What would you say to people who at home who have that desire to break out of their shell and to embrace themselves but are too afraid?
I don't remember the quote exactly because it was so long ago that I read it. And it sounds harsh, but it really freed me. There's some sort of quote that's like, nobody cares about you as much as you think they do. Like, they just don't. Everyone's like dealing with their own stuff. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. And so just be yourself. No one cares. Like, it's okay. And for me, a huge thing is like, be yourself, because like, then you find the real people. I sort of touched on, I went through a lot of like friend turnover and issues growing up, but like, and I, you know, when you're in your late 20s and 30s, I feel like you tend to find your people. There can be a lot of turnover as everyone's growing and learning who they are, and people kind of change. But like, the sooner you're yourself, the sooner you'll find your community of people. Because it's like, if someone doesn't like you, then like, then you don't want to be around them. Find someone who does like you. You'll have way more fun.
It seems so simple in concept, and yet it is like one of the most difficult things, because especially if we're in a group of people that's stable and comfortable and we don't know what else there is and what other people there are, it's so terrifying to make that change and to go, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. And I want some kind of connection, but the only way I can do it is with these people who don't accept me, so I'm going to change me.
Yeah, well, it's like that herd mentality, pack mentality that is biologically wired into our brains, because our makeup, our brains change so much more slower than technology and society have changed. So there's, that lizard part of our brain is still like, you must fit in or you will not survive.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to remind your little sweet little lizard brain, like, actually, we're cool. Everything's fine. We're not going to die on the frozen tundra without food if we search for people that we get along with better. We're actually not going to die. It's okay.
And in fact, it's going to be better than okay. It's going to be so much better in the long run.
Yeah, I feel like so many of the things, mental health things we deal with purely come from the fact that we have these survival instincts ingrained in us as humans, and society has advanced us to a place where they no longer apply, so your brain tries to apply it anyway, right? Like what do people talk about all the time? They talk about social media, or, you want to be you want to be liked, or the fight or flight, right? Oh, I didn't get enough likes on this post. Well, you're not ever going to be chased by a bear when you're hunting, so your brain goes, oh, this is fight or flight, freeze. What are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this post flopping? Because it's like, this is what I'm wired to do, and this is all I've got. Sorry. So just kind of recognizing those moments and being like, we don't need to worry about that. It's okay. Can help.
100%. And I think that is like one of the most vulnerable things that we can possibly do as humans, especially as like young humans, especially when you're a teenager, when you're 20s, 30s, but really any age, is like being yourself and just sharing what you want to share, saying what you want to say, wearing what you want to wear. It is the most terrifying, vulnerable thing ever, but oh my gosh, if you make it to the other side, and you will.
So freeing.
It's gonna be freedom, baby. It sounds to me like you are someone who really like romanticizes your life. And I love that about you. You just seem to take like so much joy in the little things.
You mentioned that before and I was shocked, because I was like, I think about all the time how I wish I romanticized my life. And, that goes to speak on the mental health aspect of you never know how other people see you. Like, right? Yeah. You think of yourself in one way, you don't know how other people are perceiving you. Because, like, to me, I'm, like, struggling through the best I can. And you're like, you romanticize your life. Great. I don't.
No, but I feel the passion when you talk about, like, your journaling and your books. And we just mentioned it, but just, like, the way you dress and...
Yeah, so, okay, I'm like, my brain's like, I guess, so I think I would look at it as I just try and find, like, the whimsy in everything.
I love that.
Which I see how, like, yes, that romanticized, to me, I'm like, I always wish I romanticized my life, like, I'm drinking out of, like, a little teacup in the woods, like, going real big with it, but yeah, I do, I refuse to not enjoy the things I do, and what I enjoy are, like, bright colors and silly things, and I refuse to be adult. I don't know. My dad is a very, like, childlike, joyful person. So I feel like my parents had a part in that of, like, I've never been told, like, act more like an adult,
That's good.
So I dressed like this, and I matched the furniture on accident.
And you look so fabulous. I said it off camera, but I'm like, with the yellow and the flowers and the green and your plant, you're just a little forest bug.
I love that.
So cute.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school for 13 years, which means I was in a uniform for 13 years, which... honestly, I liked, because I could wake up later because I didn't have to think about what I was going to wear. I was like, I know what I'm going to wear. The same thing I wear every day. So I really, like, finding my style was really also a part of, like, becoming an adult on my own. Like, it was all tied together. Like, it wasn't until I was in college that I was, like, figuring out how I liked to dress. Like, every day, not just like on weekends.
You must have felt so much freedom with that.
Yeah, I did. It was so fun. And you know, I went to school in Chicago for a while, and a big thing I would do was I had a lot of vintage dresses, but it's cold there for so long. And so I would wear my vintage dresses with tights and leg warmers and boots and a long sleeve shirt under, and like put my coat and my scarf. And it was just because I wanted to wear my cute dresses and also be warm. And people were always like, oh my God, I love your style. I love how you dress. Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, like I'm just dressing for me. And people are really into it. And I held on to that. And that has been such a big lesson for me, is like, I dress for me. I don't need to dress for other people. I hate being on trend. I hate accidentally being on trend because then people assume you're just dressing on trend. And I'm like, no, I just wanted this, but okay, sure. And it's such a huge part of my personality, my individuality, a part of like, you know, embracing who you are and your weirdness, like, wear your bright colors. Like, I got to watch my friend, one of my closest friends during the pandemic, she lived in the guest house on our property, and she was like, I want to start dressing with more of like, I don't give a like who. And now she wears like all this 80s stuff and layers and dresses all eclectic
so
and wild.
Fun.
And it's and everyone does the same. Everyone, so you feel how people respond when you just don't care.
Yeah.
And it feels good, and you keep doing it. It's a good cycle to get into.
Yeah, I totally relate. It wasn't until I think I moved here in LA and I saw like other people expressing themselves, and I would compliment them, including you. I think the first time we met, I was like, who is this stylish person?
So bright.
But then I was like, well, what would happen if I just like go down to the Goodwill and just get some new stuff that makes me feel really good? And it's the same thing where it's like, it's exactly as you just said, where the more you embrace yourself, the more other people see it. And that like brings people closer to you.
All it can do is encourage them to do the same for themselves.
Exactly.
So it's like a gift that keeps on giving. You're like, I'm choosing joy when I put on these clothes, and then it's giving someone else joy, and then they're going to do that for themselves, and it's a nice little domino effect.
It is a nice little domino effect. I love that. So let's talk about VO again. We've thoroughly covered Life is Strange and Kate Marsh. Yes. Let's talk about now. And I feel like you and me, we're in the same like pool here in LA, and we experience a lot of the same things. Something that we briefly talked about off camera was comparison. A little butt kicker that it affects everybody, not just voice actors, but I think it's super worth talking about if you're willing to yap about it with me.
I am so down to yap about it, as long as I don't need to have a solution, because your girl still struggles.
That's right. And we say it 1,000 times. Remember, guys, we are supporters, not fixers. But hey, if you struggle with comparison, buckle down, baby. We're about to make you feel real seen. How has comparison ruined your life? Such a terrible way to ask
No, it's no.
Let me rephrase that.
It is. You don't understand how real phrasing it that way is, because like, let me tell you.
I'm so
because
embarrassed.
It has, and it's embarrassed me, like how long it's taken me to like get through some of the worst of it. Yes, we are in like what you said. We're like in a similar spot, but I'm in this strange position where I'm in the same like area of work that a lot of people are in, but I've been here for 13 years. And I did Life is Strange over 10 years ago.
That's right.
And so to see people, to witness not one, but many, many, many people start 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Be in classes with them and watch them do incredible and go incredible places hits a really sensitive part in me. Not because they don't deserve it. Acting is a wild, wacky journey, and no two journeys are the same, and this, that, and the other. But when you have been like grinding in LA for 13 years, and many people do better than you in 3 years, you start to doubt yourself. You start to doubt your talents. You start to doubt if you should be here, if you should even keep going, because like, what is it all for? Like, why does it have to be so, like, why is my journey so much more difficult than all these other people's journeys, XYZ? And that has been a really hard battle with my brain to go through. It's just been really hard because you feel really bad because you want to walk a line of, you want to be confident in your talents, but you don't want to be arrogant and be like, oh, well, I should have gotten that. I'm better than that person. You don't want to be that way.
And that's a very easy trap to fall into,
and
because
it's so hard.
we get bitter very quickly.
Yeah.
Because obviously, our journeys are very different. Even so, I experienced the exact same thing. Watching people just
Yeah, it happens on all levels. It happens on all levels.
The worst part is when it happens to your closest friends and you are so happy for them, but at the same time, you're hit with this aftertaste of, who am I? And am I in the same league as this person? I feel like I'm supposed to be, but I feel like I'm not. And it sucks.
It does, because it's so multi-layered. I don't even know all the layers that are there, because like I said, that precipice of like, in order to be successful in this, like in acting, like you need to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know you have the talent, that you can do the job.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start feeling that way and then aren't booking any of the jobs, you go one of two ways. You start doubting yourself. Oh, I must not be as good as I thought I was. I must suck. Or you go the bitter route of, well, I deserved that and they didn't.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in either spot.
No, because also what that does is it kills your acting.
It does. It kills, like, it kills the... When I was in Jennifer Hale's class, the thing she said to me when she, like, looked at me and was talking to me was, like, she was kind of just like, you want this too much. You need to release. You're, like, the flow of things coming to you, you're holding on too tight and nothing can come to you.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest struggles has been knowing I'm in my own way and not knowing how to get out of it. For years, for over 5 years, I have known. I know I am my own problem. I know whatever I am thinking and doing and putting out there is blocking me from achieving things, but I don't know what to do differently.
Yeah.
I don't know what to adjust. I don't know how to change. How do you want your dream less? How do you want the thing you've been dreaming about your whole life less? Like, how do you hold on to it not as tight? It's such a backwards concept, but it's true. It's important. It's one of the reasons I started looking for an outside job. I was like, let's get my focus. I was just doing freelance work at home and there was too much focus on what I wasn't achieving.
Yeah.
So now that I'm, working a job and my brain is on other things, the acting career can cook in the background.
That's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I totally feel that. I had a crash out this week.
Don't we all? The every 6-month actor crash out is so
6 months, girl.
Well, listen, it's
2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
No, but I was on the phone with my friend. I was like venting because I was all burned out, and my friend's like, why do you put so much pressure on yourself to do stuff all the time? Can you not rest? Can you not be by yourself? And I was like, I don't think I can. I don't think I can be by myself. I think I swung too hard the other way of like trying to do other things. I'm doing other things to distract myself from the frustration that I feel in certain pockets of my life, voiceover, and the sadness and the bitterness. So I just got to do other things. And at that point, that's when I'd say, okay, maybe it's gone too far. Because 1,000%, we always need something else to turn to. Always. No matter what it is in your life that you're doing, like work is work. Work is work. Voiceover is fun. Work is work. We need something else to turn our attention to fill our soul, to fill our cup. But when it comes to a point that those things are distracting you from dealing with your emotions, like me, maybe that's a time to really stop and consider what's going on. It's time to stop pushing down those feelings.
Something that I do for myself, and I will occasionally say it to other people because I'm like, I know I need to hear this a lot. When I start to get really down about like where I'm at, what I've accomplished, I stop and I remember all that I have accomplished. And I remember that there are people out there who are looking at me and wanting to be where I'm at. So to remind yourself that you're someone else's goals can sometimes help. Not always, sometimes. But I think it's very hard in this business because it's so fleeting. It's one session, I'm never going to work again. Like one session, hope I ever get something else. Because it's not consistent work. So it's so easy for your brain to push aside what you have already accomplished and not recognize where you've come from and how you've improved since then.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it does not take away all of the sting of the comparison game, but it can stop you in your tracks from spiraling at the very least.
That's right. Because it's, it is important to be realistic and, okay, where am I at in my journey? But you're not being realistic if you're pushing away the good that you've done. Like, that is a part of the realism is like, okay, what are the things that I've accomplished? Let's celebrate that. Let's acknowledge that. The way I like to describe it is like we climb this mountain that has many, many peaks and we're never, ever going to get to the top one. But when we get to the top of a peak, we breathe on it. We go, wow, look how far I've come. We stay there for a little bit. And then we go up to the next one. And when we get up there, we can look down at that first peak and go, I did that too. And now I'm up here. This is great. I love what you said about like other people see you and they want to be where you are. Something that immediately came to my head is like, what about our younger selves? Our younger selves who look at us and they go, I want to be where you are. Like, I imagine my teenage 15-year-old self at the bottom of that mountain looking at me up on that 3rd, 4th, 5th peak and going, wow, look at her up there. I wish I could be up there.
Yeah.
That is so important to recognize.
Yeah. And I think another thing, I really think, speaking of being vulnerable, something that I have thought in the past is like, oh, I don't feel as supported by my peers that as I see them supporting other people, and then I have this intrusive thought, and I don't know if it's true or not. It might be, because like it's just like you never know. Of like, oh, well, they see that you were in Life is Strange, and they're like, oh, she's fine. She doesn't need my help. She's got this. When the reality is, I booked Life is Strange and didn't have another VO job for 10 years. Like, yes, I booked this incredible job. I have this incredible experience, but it did not mean that I didn't need the support or help.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that just goes to show, like, going back to what we said earlier of, like, the way people roll up is not we really have to look behind the scenes, because just because someone is doing X, Y, and Z does not mean that they're doing great and fine and completely untouchable. You know, we have to be open-minded to all that stuff. Yeah.
And I'm someone who is I'm very introverted, and I'm socially awkward, and I'm shy. Sometimes we've gone over me having anxiety, and so I often feel that I'm at a detriment sometimes in this space because I'm not as good at meeting people and networking and just like being open and bubbly and like outgoing. And it feels sometimes like I have to stop myself from beating myself up for just being a different type of person.
Yeah.
Because, like, I love this community and I love meeting new people. I'm just not always the best at it. And I'm not always the best at keeping up with people. And some people are. And sometimes those people, you know, that gets them further. But that doesn't mean that I'm any less than.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
But it's such a hard
I was having
thing.
this conversation with my roommate this week where I have a Fitbit and I'm totally obsessed with it. And my 10,000 steps is very important to me every day. And I was talking to my roommate and I was like, oh, I have 9,000 steps. Like, I have 1,000 more to go. And she works at a grocery store. She's like, oh, I have 13,000 steps. And I said, not for long. And I started walking. And she's like, you know that taking your steps doesn't take mine away, right? And I looked at her and we both had this, like, look in our eyes, like, that was, like, this
so
is
profound.
such a great metaphor. Like, how do we rephrase this in a way that is so wise? But it's absolutely that. Like, just because someone else is taking more steps does not take away the steps that you've taken.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's like, okay, I have to be okay with the fact that, like, I'm a different personality type. Maybe, and it's not fair that my career might move slower because of it, but, like, I'm not going to push myself to be someone I'm not.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
all our journeys, I hate that I'm saying this because I hate when people say this to me, but everyone moves at different paces.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
so frustrating.
Yeah, and speaking of comparison, a mentor of mine once told me, like, and this is such a great way to look at it, but it's so hard to do. She was like, stay in your lane. Don't look at the other cars. Their lanes don't matter. Like, where they're going doesn't matter. Like, look ahead at your lane. Stop looking to the left and the right of you. Impossible. It's literally so hard not to do.
Yeah, but it goes back to, like, when we started talking about this, we said, how does comparison ruin your life? And then I was like, why did I say that? But really, that's a good kind of comparison, is comparing yourself to your old self.
Yes.
I think if we use it as, like, keeping milestone, what am I saying? Mile trackers?
Milestones
what is the
is a
word?
thing.
Milestones?
A
Okay.
milestone is
Yeah.
a thing.
If we use it as a way of keeping milestones for our own journey, I think that's incredible, because then we can really celebrate ourselves.
It's the mountain.
It is. It's the mountain peaks.
And yes, taking moments to celebrate yourself. Like, I have started keeping notes in my notes app. I have written down certain things that people have said to me, like a director or in a class or something, that have been positive, that made me feel really good in the moment. And I, like, write that down. And then when I'm feeling really crappy about myself, I can open it and read them and be like,
that's such a good
remember when
idea.
Heather Gonzalez said you were really good at breathing and crying? Like, that made you feel so good. And I've done it for her, for other people. I've been like, had a friend, someone's being like, oh, I'm having a bad actor brain day. And then I'm like, remember when you went to that session and that director said they were so excited to finally be working with you? And then they're like, oh yeah.
It feels good.
Like, you just gotta gather your little stones.
That's right. Our little positivity stones.
Yes.
I'm so glad we talked about that. I feel, like, so much better now. Like, not only I think was that great for people to share, but, like, it feels good to talk to someone who gets it, because it is really hard. And it's just as you said at the beginning of this conversation, like, we don't have the answers. I think we added some great little tidbits of what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
But again, this is a struggle that every single one of us is going to have forever, because we do move at different paces. But that's life.
Yeah.
That is life. So all we can do is keep track of our milestones and celebrate ourselves and celebrate other people. I think we spent a lot of time talking about how other people are frustrating, but really celebrating them when we feel like we're up to it is really important.
I definitely had a breakthrough moment years ago when I realized that it was possible to both be happy for and celebrate a friend's win and also feel a little sad, like, for myself. Like, it's okay. Those two things can exist side by side. They don't take away from each other. Like, I used to feel like, oh, but if I'm feeling like, oh, but I didn't even get to audition for that. I wish I had. That doesn't mean I'm any less happy for that person's win.
Yeah.
We are complex creatures, so we hold multitudes.
Yeah.
But what you said of, like, when you said, like, celebrating when we're able to is super important. Like, you need to know when to detach from social media. Like, I've had conversations with my friends where it's like, okay, I can't be on Twitter today. Everyone's announcing stuff, and I'm in my feels. Like,
and that is totally okay.
Like, yeah, you need to take care of your own mental health, because if you know it's just going to keep making you more and more and more upset, like, you're just digging yourself a deeper mental health hole for yourself. So, like, just get off and distract yourself. Do something else. Watercolor, like, garden. I don't know. All my hobbies are that of an 80-year-old grandma. But
I love it. But, like, you're right. And by the way, guys, like, you're not a terrible person for needing to log off or just to step away when your friends share wins. You're not a bad friend for that. You need to protect yourself, because once you feel good, once you feel okay again, then you can go back and really share your genuine, vulnerable excitement.
And exactly, and then it's more, like you said, genuine. It's more genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not tinged with anything. It's just like, okay, let me, like, whoo, whoo.
And then people are going to do the same right back to you.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, they should celebrate you right back.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, it seems like we're about to wrap up. Daye, do you have any last things to say to our lovely viewers? I know you had a list of beautiful books you wanted to share with us.
Yes, I wrote down all of the books in recent years that have been my little morning reads full of highlighting and underlining. And these are mostly all either from Jennifer Hale or Julie Nathanson. I was like,
both
give me your
amazing,
books.
amazing people.
So obviously we have What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. I actually pay. There's an app where he has all these like positive self-talk recordings that you can play, and so I have that. And sometimes I'll like play them when I'm like showering or getting ready for the day. Great. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown.
I just bought that one. I'm excited to read it.
Yes, tell me everything.
I love Brene Brown. Please go watch a Brene Brown, the Brene Brown TED Talk about vulnerability. It literally helped me get my footing for this podcast and understand what it means to be vulnerable. I'm so excited. So good. Please go watch it.
I'm so excited for you to read that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. I'm going to try not by Kamal Ravikant. And Self-Compassion, the Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself by Dr. Kristen Neff. I'm currently in the middle of that one. And I also just started Mind Magic by James R. Doughty, which seems so far like it backs up what is in What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, because this is like someone talking about the recent proven science behind how you can change your brain with like your self-talk, and like they've seen it, they've mapped it now, they've seen the composition change, and that's also the basis of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. So I'm like really excited for that
is so cool. Thank you for sharing all of those.
Of course.
I love your little bookwormness. It's so fun.
I'm here for any and all book recommendations regardless of genre.
And let me know when you start your book podcast. I'd love to listen. All right, well, we're about to wrap up here, but not before we ask you our very last question. It's the question we ask everybody at the end of every episode, and as our viewers know, it is the most vulnerable question. And as usual, I encourage anyone watching or listening to this video, pause it. Not yet. But after I say this next thing, pause the video and ask yourself this question. Daye.
Yes.
What is your favorite thing about yourself? Now you guys can pause it and ask this question. Okay. Unpaused? You know what your favorite thing about yourself is? Okay, great. Then let's listen to what Daye has to say.
I think I would have had a harder time answering this, but through our conversation, I feel like my favorite thing about myself is my whimsy.
Your whimsy! Yes!
Yes, my unapologetic whimsy.
Tell me why you love your whimsy so much.
I think it's just at the core of me. It's at the core of like my stubbornnness to be me, and like part of that is like I integrate the whimsy into life. Like, you know, it's like a culmination of everything we've talked about. Like I dress how I want, which is bright and colorful. I love reading, I love magical worlds, I love fantasy, I love all these other worlds, and I try and bring that into my life however I can so that I can be living my most whimsical life as well.
And we can take so much away from that. Thank you for coming, my friend. May we all be as whimsy as you.
Yes, I impart whimsy upon you all.
Hi there, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of The Vulnerable. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please check out the description for a list of trusted resources that me and my mom, who is a licensed psychologist, came up with. You can like and subscribe, that's all great, but I would love if you could comment and share your story with us, and share this video with a friend who you think might need it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Great. There's take one.